All right, welcome to the Buff Show. Today I have Ben Larson with me. We just recorded an awesome podcast on the market and updates.
So, really, we're going to be going over what's happening out there. And from what I'm seeing, it's kind of turning into a buyer's market or a potential buyer's market.
Yeah,
We'll see.
we get into that. I'm still on the edge. It's a little bit of a seller's market, but it's me, Ben, and Cade Kerrigan go at it on today's market update, and it's a good one. Lots of good indicators and things to watch out for as the spring fever kicks in.
Strategy on how to play it. And
It's a good one. We'll hop into it.
all right, guys, we're going to talk about days on market. So that means the number of days after you've listed until you have accepted a contract, not until you have actually settled and closed on it. So from December of 2021 to December of 2022, this last December, last year it was, or I guess it'd be 2 years ago. Oh, I'm stressing. I gotta be smart with it because I want it to be smooth and precise. Okay. All right, days on market. That means the days from when you list until you go under and accept a contract. So December of 2021, the average days on market was 27 days. That's actually a pretty quick turnaround considering you have to go through so many offers and figure them out. This year of December 2022, or this last December, we've gotten all the way up to 55 days. So houses are definitely sitting longer on the market.
Yeah, over double. What's the percentage increase?
So you're 103% more house or days on the market. So you've doubled your days on the market.
So if you're going to go and sell, be aware of that. Also, like after as homes sit on the market longer, like sellers start to get more anxious. So if you're a seller watching this, be prepared that it's going to take a little bit longer to sell your house, and you might have to be a little bit more flexible. But if you're a buyer watching this, like realize you have a little bit more leverage.
Time for the kill.
Yep.
So going from December of 2022 to December of 2021, there is a 34% decrease in pending sales, meaning the market has slowed quite a bit from 2021 to 2022. Really kind of curious to see what this next year brings. Looking at this graph here in December of 2022, every year from going back to 2006 is what I got here. It shows a very similar graph. It goes up and down as January is a low point, summer's a high point, December is also a low point. So I'm curious to see what January brings this next year with the market that we've had. The interest rates have slowed everything quite a bit, but I think just kind of listening around to what we've heard with listing agents and other buyers out there, that the market I think is going to start picking back up again.
Yeah, no, I agree with that 100%. Rates and everything have really put a damper on homes going under contract. There's less of them, and it'll be cool to watch this next buying season come out and see what happens during that.
Do you think it's going to be a slow before the storm, or?
I think we're going to see. We'll have a busy spring. I really do. I think rates are down considerably than where they were before, even 2 months ago in the fall, or coming into winter. So I think now you're able to get rates in like the high fives, when before we were like high sixes, low sevens. So
That buyer pool just opened way up,
Yeah.
dropping back down in the five. So be ready for that.
and it's still expensive, but it's less expensive. So it's kind of like who's the first to jump off the fence. Like all these buyers, like they haven't gone anywhere. They're all sitting on the fence.
waiting.
And then as some start jumping off and they're, oh, my friend just bought a house. Nobody wants to be the first one off the fence. Now it feels like a good deal, right?
Right.
Because you're not paying that high 6, low 7 rate anymore.
Right.
I've spoken with a couple other listing agents, and their listings are getting a lot more action on them. Obviously, the holidays and December slows everything down anyways, but they're gone from no showings in the last 2 months to 5 or 6 or 8 of them or more. And then we've heard of a couple properties actually that have multiple offers on them now.
Yeah,
and
which is crazy.
I think the interest rates are starting to settle and people are starting to get more comfortable with them, and they're more willing to jump into the market.
Yeah. Okay, well, I have closed sales. We're going to talk about this a little bit. So this is comparing all the Decembers going back to 2020. I'm going to share 2020. 2020, there was 5,030 closed sales. December of 2021, 4,798. And then December of 2022, 2,644. So a significant decrease, a negative 44% decrease in closed sales. So that kind of follows that pending sales. Less homes under contract. There's going to be less homes closing, and that wraps it up for closed sales.
So this one's pretty interesting to me. This statistic, percent of original list price received. Okay, this is the third time I've shot this. So in December of 2020, the average that people were getting offered on their homes was 102% of their asking value.
100.2.
100.2, excuse me, 100.2. Don't need a fourth. In 2021, the average received price was 100% asking. So people were getting what they asked on average. In 2022, we dropped all the way down to 93.5% of their asking price. So we can see what people are wanting for their homes and what they're actually getting is diving, meaning it's going to be a buyer's market. It's the feeding frenzy is starting, some might say.
Well, and this is huge for buyers because, like, I was helping buyers in 2020, and it was like, even in December, that's crazy because December's normally like people have Christmas and all the holidays, and like to think that you can list your home and still get asking or above, like people were getting that
and fighting for it.
And fighting for it in the holiday season, which is kind of unheard of. So that happened in 2020. 2021 was still like 100% on average, but now 93%. So that's a significant drop. So buyers have more bargaining power. Like if you need closing costs or like, it's a much nicer market to navigate as a buyer. Sellers are a lot more flexible. And that goes back to all the stats that we've talked about where like days on market have gone up, closings have gone down, pendings like under contracts are down. That's a good number.
And it might seem like we talked 100.2, 100%, and 93.5. Those might seem like small variables, but think about this. For every $100,000 you ask for your house, in 2022, you're getting about $7,000 less. So if you had a $500,000 house, you were getting $35,000 less on average. So kind of keep that in perspective when we talk about these percentages.
No, that is really good. So today, I ran a report, and it's looking at today, which is January 18th, 2023. And this report pulls all the actives and comparing back 1 year ago. So in 2022, in January of 2022, there were 1,916 homes on the market. Today, any guesses? This is huge. Today, there's 7,550 homes on the market. So you're talking almost a 300% increase in listings.
That's a healthier market. It's
Yeah.
a lot healthier market.
Way healthier. And what do you think about that?
I feel like it not as healthy as some might think. I think it's becoming a buyer's market, and sellers are going to get beat up now. It's their turn.
Yeah.
And I think after that happens, then we'll get back to a healthy market. But I think we're going to have that. We had that severe swing where sellers were bullying buyers around. And I think it's at that point now where you're going to see some buyers be able to push back and forth. And I think we'll finally, see a, like you were saying, a healthier market. But I feel right now it's time for buyers.
But I also think that there's still not enough inventory in the market as there should be. So we're still the rates helping a ton, and so I think as rates come back down, that's going to change a lot again. I think it's going to be kind of back to more of a seller's market. It's going to be a hot market again.
Right now, it's a strong buyer's market.
Yes, but
a little more cash
I think it's situational too. Like I still have seen properties be listed and be sold within a week or two.
Yeah, and I think where buyers can take advantage is you have all these sellers that like, my house should be gone in a week, like, and you can take advantage of that. But if you look back historically, I would argue that we're still in the seller's market because I remember when I first got into real estate, it wasn't uncommon to have 10,000 or 12,000 homes on the market.
Really?
And that was still like a fairly like competitive buyer's market. So I think we got to get above. There's a number, and we don't have it, but it's like months supply of inventory, and I think we're still under 3 months supply. So if we weren't to get any new listings that were to come on the market, how long would it take for us to like deplete our inventory of listings? And we're still in that range where I think you would still almost consider it a seller's market. But I think there's a lot of sellers that are used to the past few years and their home's selling for fast, they get desperate and they start to do some fire sales. And that's where Ben's talking about. We've been able to help a lot of clients get some really good deals on properties because they want their house sold, yesterday. And we can accommodate that, right?
Yep.
If you want to sell it at a good price. So I think it is situational.
Yeah,
And
100%.
I love the market where we're going. Like, hopefully, I would like to see, like, it's nice for buyers to be able to have some time before they need to make a decision on their house. They can look at 10 homes before they make an offer versus before it was like make an offer on 10 homes and whichever one accepts it, like
Yeah.
Or hope that one
say-
accepted it. Yeah.
write the sellers a huge thank you note and be grateful for what you get. That's what it was like back then. Beggars couldn't be choosers. But now you can actually choose the home that you want to get into, and it's harder for sellers, 100%. Like, plan on more time, and a lot of people, like, I'll have conversations with people and they'll be like, the market's crashing. I'm like, I don't know if I'd call it a crash. Like, you're comparing the economy, like the real estate market in Utah, to a freaking hurricane that's unnatural. And you're expecting that hurricane of like homes flying off the market in like 2 days, and you'd be under contract over a weekend and you'd get 50 grand above list price. People thought that's normal. That's not normal.
Right.
So we're getting back into like a normal weather pattern or condition for what we should expect to see, but like a 30% increase in appreciation in home values isn't normal.
I wish it
So
was.
I know it'd be nice
Right.
for everybody that has houses.
That has, yeah. Ever tried to buy one?
If you don't have one, then you're kind of out of luck. But so again, we're up 300% as of today under contracts. Last year there were 6,500 homes under contract. We're only 3,800 today, so negative 41%. A lot of homes being pulled off the market. So everything that we've talked about, there's more listings, homes are sitting on the market longer, and pending sales are down, closings are down. It's really a good time to be a buyer right now. But now we're starting to see the rates drop and soften. And I think that, combined with the spring fever that's just around the corner, as soon as the weather starts getting better, snow starts melting, people get out of their houses and they start thinking like, I think we want to move. There's so many people on the fence right now.
Do you think it will? This is just a Utah thing or countrywide?
Yeah, that's a good question. I haven't paid a whole lot of attention like outside, but I think it'll be country, but I think different markets will react differently. I think Utah's strong enough though. There's so many people wanting to move here.
Right.
And I know so many people personally that are like, we've been in this weird dynamic where everybody either bought a house or refinanced in the past few years. So everybody's sitting on these
Amazing
3%,
rate, yep.
and they're like married to these rates. People want to move, but they're like, man, I don't want to sell my house that I have a 3% rate on to go buy the same house and then my payment double, like that's
Right.
not fun. So we're in like this weird dynamic market, but as rates start softening, and I think people are just going to come out of the woodworks. If rates come down, you're going to see the prices swing back up.
Right. Because there's still, what they say, Utah still has about a 30,000 housing units deficit that we're in
Right.
need of.
Yeah. And
So-
and it's like builders are slowing down right now too. And it's not because the demand's not there. The demand's still there. It's just people
You're seeing
they're sitting on the
yeah,
fence.
you're seeing a lot of that new construction. They're slowing down. They're pivoting. They're building apartments. They're building townhomes, just to be affordable.
So let's talk about, if you're like, how do you apply this? How should you receive this if you're a buyer? What's our tips for buyers? And then we'll like quickly talk about sellers. What's your tips?
My first tip is, if you're a buyer, call an agent. Or for the most part, it's not going to cost you anything, because a lot of times the seller pays the commissions. Let us help guide you through this information. Let's help you find deals. And as a seller, same thing. We can tell you how to be ready for it. Hey, when can we optimize this sell in kind of this downturning market for you? If you got to get out of your home, let's start planning so we can maximize your return.
Yeah.
That's what I have advice on.
I think for a buyer, be smart and negotiate. Don't rush getting into a property. The market's a different market now than it was a year or two ago. Take your time, look at the property, do your due diligence on the property. If something comes up that you're not feeling good about, look into it. And then I think as a seller, don't let your emotions on the property get too involved. I know a lot of people will say, oh, this property has memories with this and that, and they want to list for probably more than what the property's worth. Like Ben said, talk to an agent, pull comps, figure out what the property's really worth and what we think we can sell it for. And obviously, all this depends kind of on the seller's situation. Are they in a rush to move? Are they not in a rush? Do they need to sell for X amount of money, or just kind of situational? But don't let your emotions of the property get in the way of reaching whatever goal it is you're trying to get to.
Yeah, no, that's great advice. And my final advice would be, if you're a buyer, get creative. Like, you can do an assumable rate loan right now. You can do a 2-1 buy down. Like, there's so many ways to get into a house and make it affordable and still be able to purchase. And we've done episodes on this. I would argue I would rather pay less for a house, which you can right now. You can buy a house at a discounted price and refinance or change the rate later than wait for rates to come down and you get a better rate, but home values might go up because then more buyers are coming out into the pool. So that's my advice for buyers. Like, don't wait. Like, if you need to make the move, hop in and do it, and just be smart about it. There's so many products out there to make it easier for you in today's market, and sellers are way more workable. Less competition. Like, there's a ton of pros to buying right now. If you're a seller, you're gonna have to be patient, and the market has been falling. So instead of like pricing above like we used to, I'm like, price at or below if you're really serious about selling. The market's been going down. Like, let's not chase it down and be one step behind if you're really wanting to get out. And then just be patient. Realize it's going to take on average 60 days for you to, get it under contract.
Get it under contract, and then you're an average about 30 to 45 days after that to
So 90
close
days.
those. Yep.
90 days right now if you want to sell. And if you have a higher end home, anything that's $1 million or above, like those can take even longer. So
they're outside of that average.
yeah. So get with us. We can pull comps. Like, whatever you guys need, we're here to serve you and to make this an easier, less stressful process. And hopefully you find the numbers that we just presented helpful, like giving you an idea on where the market's at and what's coming. We're going to start doing these monthly, so should be good. Thanks, guys.
Awesome.
See you
Thanks.
guys.